Every system, no matter how perfect it's lauded to be, harbors a dark underbelly that those within it are too slow to perceive. The financial market, often seen as the epitome of transparency, is controlled by invisible milliseconds, subterranean networks that most of the world remains utterly unaware of. What happens when truth doesn't collapse with a loud crash, but with minuscule fluctuations? There are secrets not hidden in darkness, but laid bare in plain sight. The creation of a cable line running straight across America, defying mountains and rivers, was precisely such a secret. It lay silent beneath the earth, like a patient creature awaiting activation. Construction teams worked silently, given only one instruction: don't ask, don't tell. This was no mere infrastructure project. It was carving time itself. In a world where every millionth of a second has a price, that distance wasn't just geographical. It was real money. Meanwhile, Brad, a trader accustomed to transparency, watched his buy orders vanish before his eyes. The market reacted before his order even reached it. He wasn't just being outmaneuvered. He was being observed, not by humans, but by a system that reacted so quickly it could be mistaken for intuition. The market had silently changed without anyone announcing it. Strategies that had worked for years became useless. What tormented him wasn't the losses, but the feeling that he was touching a fold in the financial market that few dared to look at directly. On the surface, the stock exchange maintained an orderly facade, but deep beneath was a silent race, one where the losers didn't even know they were competing. Brad began to realize he wasn't being deceived. He was simply viewing the market from the perspective of someone who believed in synchronization, but the market wasn't synchronized. It was fragmented, operating on distance, where whoever knew the shorter path would see the market before anyone else. This wasn't a glitch. It was a resource. And that resource was being exploited by teams who didn't appear in the headlines but wielded power beyond imagination. They were not reading his thoughts, but they were reading speed, and speed was a more honest language than anything else. The market wasn't just distorted, it was fundamentally flawed. All significant players benefited when it was more complex, more opaque, harder to understand. Complexity created opportunities, opacity created reasons for new products, and difficulty in understanding deprived investors of their right to question. Speed had become the new norm, a weapon, and once a norm is accepted, people stop scrutinizing it. This is the story of those who chose to see the market not as a place to gain an advantage, but as a place that needed to be saved. A quiet decision, but it carried the weight of the first strike into the ground where something entirely new would be built. The fight against an invisible predator, a creature nourished by speed, begins now.